In this section, we'll review network models as part of the communications analysis. The project manager should consider the number of potential communication channels, or paths, as an indicator of the complexity of the project's communications. Network models explain the relationships between people and the number or types of interactions needed between project participants. Typically, these are diagrammed using nodes with lines connecting the nodes, which indicate the number of communication channels. These are also known as lines of communication. In this diagram, the nodes are the participants and the lines show the connection between all of them. All network models will consist of nodes with lines connecting the nodes, which indicates the number of communication channels. You do not have to draw any models for the exam. To determine the number of communication channels, which is something you do need to know, use the above formula. The number of channels equals n times n minus 1 divided by 2. In our model, we had 5 participants, and by plugging in 5 for n, we have 5 times 4 equals 20, which we then divide by 2 to get 10 communication channels. Communications technology is a tool that examines the methods for information distribution. Some of the forms include written, spoken, email, formal reports, meetings, and instant messaging, just to name a few. The question the project manager needs to answer is what types of systems are acceptable versus any of its alternatives. The project manager needs to determine the urgency of the need for information. Also, determine the systems available for information distribution and whether new systems are needed. Determine if the staff has skill sets to use the systems, and determine if the selected systems will be used over the entire span of the project. And lastly, determine the environment for the communications. The only output from this process is the Communications Management Plan. It has quite a few elements and should address each of the types of communications needed for the project. It should provide stakeholder communication requirements, details on how these needs will be met, includes the format, content, and the level of detail, names the person responsible for preparing and distributing the information, and names the person or groups to receive the information. It also identifies the methods or technology used to convey the information, such as memoranda, email, and/or press releases. It also includes the frequency of the communication and details the escalation process, identifying timeframes and the management chain for escalation of issues that can't be resolved at lower staff levels. Lastly, it defines the method for updating and refining the communications management plan as the project progresses and develops. It includes a glossary of common terminology, guidelines for status meetings or team meetings, and details the communication item, purpose, frequency, start and end dates, format, medium, and responsibility. That concludes our review of the communication plan. In the next section, we'll begin the review of the quality planning process.